I guess this sophomore slump is real, to an extent. Now, of course, that's a pretty general comment to open up today's video, but if you are a Detroit Red Wings fan and you clicked on this video looking for a conversation about a very particular Detroit Red Wings player, then you already know why we're here. Today, we are heading over to a guy who took the Red Wings by storm last season. A guy who made the team, and a guy who was able to provide some pretty good value all over the lineup. From being a second-line center when the team needed a second-line center, to being a first-line winger with his agitative quality, his pace, his board battles, and his dogness, Marco Kasper was a bright spot in Detroit's 2024-2025. He had 37 points in 77 games played as a first-year Red Wings player, and I'd think, generally, most folks would say that a 20-goal scorer, near 40-point scorer, is a pretty legitimately valuable player in the National Hockey League, especially when he's only 20. Now, this season, things have not gone as well for Marco Kasper in the slightest. The guy has scored 3 goals in 23 games played. He is on pace for 11 points. And quite frankly, the overall level of effectiveness has just not been there for Kasper. He hasn't been able to convert on what he's been given. Kasper was able to avoid a healthy scratch situation, actually. A few days ago against Columbus, there was speculation that Kasper might actually be watching from the press box. Ultimately, he did end up playing that Saturday game against CBJ. He also played yesterday's game against New Jersey. Didn't really look the most effective. He had 11 minutes time on ice for both of them, but then again, the guy hasn't scored a point in... how long has it been? He had a 2-goal game on October 30th against the LA Kings. That was however many games ago. So Marco Kasper, out of the 23 games he has played so far, he has only scored points in 2 of them, because one of those games was a 2-goal game. Safe to say, it just really hasn't been working out for this guy. Now, we also had ourselves some commentary on the matter from Todd McLellan. This is an article on Detroit Hockey Now by Bob Duff from yesterday that asks whether or not it's time to put Kasper back on the Red Wings top line. You had some commentary from Todd McLellan. He said this, that he has taken several measures in attempting to pull Kasper out of his season-long funk. He has moved the 21-year-old Austrian from center to the wing. Kasper has been moving up and down the lineup in recent games. He finished Thursday's 5-0 loss to the Islanders on the 4th line. He is dealing with a lot of frustration, McLellan said. Rightfully so. He also had some commentary from Kasper himself saying it's definitely not easy at all. Kasper said of his current slump, "Obviously you're going to get frustrated, and I'm not happy with how things are going personally. But I've talked about it before. All I can do, I think really, is just go out and practice. Stay on the ice, work on things, work hard, and then go out in a game. Try to build confidence with little things. Make the simple play, make a hit, stuff like that." Perhaps it's time the Red Wings went back to what made Kasper famous as an NHLer. His big break in the big leagues came last season, when McLellan slotted him on the wing alongside of Larkin and Raymond on Detroit's top line. Kasper established his credentials on that line, collecting 16 points over 2 months. At that point, McLellan moved Kasper to the second-line center role between Kane and DeBrincat. Now, can we just take a moment to acknowledge how good that period was? Like, wowzers, what a fun moment for Red Wings hockey. Obviously, they didn't end up making the playoffs, and I think that was the big ouchie of the season, especially considering how close they were in 2024's playoff run, I was going to say. But Marco Kasper was the one positive out of everything that was going on. Dylan Larkin was frustrated with Steve Yzerman's lack of moves at the trade deadline. There was speculation that he might be interested in leaving, whatever. DeBrincat was scoring, which is great, but it wasn't enough for the Red Wings to string together enough wins to make the playoffs. And then, inevitably, it got to a point where Detroit was kind of in a predicament this summer, you know? A lot of folks were debating whether or not Larkin was interested in staying or going, yada yada yada. Now he's doing fine. He's a very productive player. DeBrincat's starting to score again. The Red Wings are, despite losing to the Devils yesterday, they're doing pretty alright, and they happen to have one of the best records in the NHL despite the poor goaltending and the poor shooting percentage. Things are going pretty well. A positive regression, I think, is in store here for Todd McLellan and his team. But not everybody's doing well in this stance. Marco Kasper, unfortunately, is going through it, and he went out there and said this: "There's going to be periods where you don't score at all, where things just are not going right," Kasper said. "I think I'm just trying to go back to things that I can do well and that I can actually take control of, which is work hard, compete, and show up every day with the right mindset, and do my best." And at the end of the day, right, like, that's all you can really do if you're Marco Kasper. You can't magically wish for things to go the way that you want them to go. You just gotta find ways to force it. Find ways to be able to make things go your way on the ice. And at some point, you know, there has to be a mental fix to how you're able to get those results. I don't want to make it seem like it's so simple, like, oh, you just gotta do this and all of a sudden he'll be good again. But, like, maybe giving him a first-line spot is all that's really going to be needed to activate that part of his brain again. When you get into a funk like that, things don't go your way, you start feeling it, it starts rubbing on you over the course of multiple weeks, and you go 20-plus games without scoring any points, that starts to really bog down on a guy. And now you have folks all over social media debating whether or not a first-line opportunity is what's needed to get him going there. Here's a tweet posted by Darth Raider from earlier in the weekend. "This is not the same Marco Kasper that scored the overtime goal and shut down Kucherov single-handedly last year. He's completely in a funk mentally. He is defensively not there, and offensively invisible." He then had a response from Noel: "He should be playing first-line left wing. Get his confidence back. Larkin and Raymond cannot score with Emmett Finney. I like Finney, but he is destroying this team. He is Darren Helm 2.0. No business on the first line. He's a generational fourth liner." And then there's a reply that says, wait a minute, no, Finney is not Helm 2.0. He's one of the best players on the team when it comes to consistency. So maybe that is not necessarily the right way to be thinking about it, but there are a number of folks defending him. Hey, he's still been defensively responsible. He's still doing what he does best. It's an issue with the guys that he's playing with. Oh, Andrew Kopp and James Van Riemsdyk are not Raymond and Larkin, so you're not going to be able to get the same offensive production with those two bums on your line. And I think there's a little bit of everything that is true here, but ultimately it comes down to how he's feeling about it all, because he's talking about, yeah, it is frustrating, and even though you can say he's not being put in a position to play in a way that's not frustrating, the fact that he is in this spot and he's not getting those conversions to go his way, it does bog down on a guy. And he's a young player. He's only 21. He'll continue to grow and get better, and I have no doubt that by the time next year rolls around, he'll probably be a much better hockey player than he is now. That's just how development goes. But sophomore slumps do exist via various means, and this just seems to be one of these situations where a guy can't seem to play the way that he wants to, in a position where he's not really used to playing. I mean, last year he was given top 6 minutes and he shined in them. This year he's not there, and you can say he's not strong enough on his own to carry the lines that he is on, which is causing him to feel frustrated, it's causing fans to feel confused. Nobody's really happy in this situation, so I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Marco Kasper and the way that his career has gone from last year until this year? What are your thoughts on the potential solution, and do you think it involves playing him on that first line? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.